welcome everyone to the JuliaCon, the podcast, episode 1. What do we say? Next week today. That's right. Episode 1. Next week today. That's what it's called. I'm your host. I'm Kano, and these are my co-hosts.
Hi, I'm Huda.
And I'm Nathan.
What we're going to try to do for you is to accompany JuliaCon, the conference. Obviously, it's online this year, so we're going to be missing out a little bit on the in-person interaction. But we thought we might be able to make up for that at least a little bit with this podcast. So, but before we tell you what this podcast is all about, and before we get started, why don't we talk about some of the workshops, which are starting tomorrow, 10 a.m. my time. If you're not on the East Coast of the United States, there'll be a different time. But yeah, why don't we go around the room quickly and just talk about which workshop you are looking forward to most. So Huda, why don't you get us started?
Just a quick note, it's going to be 7 a.m. Pacific time, which is going to be really fun waking up that early. But anyway, yeah. So yeah, I'm actually really excited about the SciML workshop. That's probably, I'm going to make sure to go to that workshop. It really aligns well with my kind of work. I'm very interested in machine learning. One of Julia's most favorite features for me is composability. It helps with like automatic differentiation, stuff like that. And Chris is an amazing speaker. So that's my favorite workshop to go to this week.
All right, perfect.
Yeah.
So for me personally, I'm looking forward to the binary builder workshop. And you know, people may not know this, but distributing native binary C, Fortran, C++ has been a long time discussion in Julia. And I personally actually wrote the first BinDeps way back in like the pre-Julia Open 1 days. And it was a bit of a disaster. It held up, but it was a bit of a disaster. But Binary Builder is what I think solved it finally. So I'm really excited to have Elliot and Mose, who've been taken over maintainership of Binary Builder and who have done really an amazing job of putting together what is one of my very favorite parts of the tooling that we've built in Julia. The entire tooling around building C and Fortran and now Rust and Go and everything you can imagine are binaries that are dependencies of Julia packages. So that should be an amazing workshop. You know, lots of people have to build binaries. I'm really looking forward to having Elliot and Mose introduce people on how to do it.
Awesome. Yeah, me too. Binary Builder is super cool. And then the one that I'm looking forward to of the upcoming workshops in the next couple of days is the Building Microservices and Applications in Julia workshop by Jacob Quinn. This is very related to my work. I come to Julia from a more traditional, from a software engineering angle rather than a lot of people who come from all the natural sciences and data sciences and computer science angle. And I think despite that, I think Julia is actually a really cool language for building software as like production software that's hosting web applications and things like that. And so I'm excited to hear more about other people doing that. That's what we're doing in my work at Relational AI, and that's what Jacob will be talking about in this conference, in this workshop. So I'm excited to hear more about other people doing this sort of thing.
So actually, there's a lot more interesting things. I mean, we just went and picked just one quick workshop or like one of our favorite workshops, but there are so many others that are also super cool. So we encourage you to go to all of them.
When are those workshops? They start tomorrow, which is Friday.
Yes.
And
they 10 a.m. or 10 a.m. Eastern, 7 a.m.
10 a.m. Eastern, 7 a.m. like later UTC. I don't know. Like don't rely on us for scheduling. Like let's just make that clear. We will not be giving scheduling information. If you want the schedule, go to juliacon.org. Look at the schedule. Yeah, but so that's briefly about what the workshop is going to be about. So, but we do want to tell you what we're planning to do. So I mentioned it briefly, but we're going to have hopefully lots of interesting things on this podcast. Is it a podcast if you have video? I don't know.
Yes.
Yeah,
we
they
decided to do
do
this video thing.
video podcast now. No,
There are
video
video
cast,
podcasts.
vidcast.
Vlog.
But yeah, so
Vlog, yeah.
we're gonna have lots of interesting things. Huda, do you want to give a brief overview of what we've planned?
Yeah. So actually, let me just give Keno credit. I have to, just because you came up with the idea, and it's a brilliant idea. I really love it. I think one thing about JuliaCon is really like the event that brings in like all the people who use Julia, or like a lot of people who use Julia, and this physical aspect of it, of us being in the same physical space where a lot of interaction happens and a lot of creative ideas come out of JuliaCon traditionally in the past, and like hopefully this JuliaCon as well. So we wanted to just give you a glimpse of what that feels like, even though we're trying to do that virtually still. Some of the things we're going to try to do are, first of all, we're going to bring in people to try and interview them. So actually later, Nathan's going to tell us more about a poll that we have prepared for you that you can input some content, or like the kind of things you would like to see in this podcast. So that will be some crowdsourcing from you. Also, we're going to try and bring kind of fun stories from the past, from previous JuliaCons. There are a lot of like fun things that have happened in the past. I'm like trying to think off the top of my head, like one of the stories that comes.
Yeah, you guys remember Julia 1.0, the release party?
It was
I mean,
the thing in my
good party. But B,
agreed.
We had messed up the live streaming for that. So JuliaCon usually is live streamed. It has been for the past year. But somehow there was a miscommunication. Nobody had bothered to live stream the secret Julia 1.0, right? Because this was a big secret. Nobody was supposed to know that we were tagging Julia 1.0 live at JuliaCon. It was supposed to happen at the start of the party, and then everybody was supposed to celebrate, the Julia 1.0 release. But lots of people were watching online, but we had no live stream. So what ended up happening is I ended up standing there literally for an hour and a half during the talk at the start of the party, just like with my phone in front of my like super shaky, super low budget with like 150 people on the live stream.
I remember watching you, Kenna, where like your hand is like this, and I'm like,
yeah,
Kenna's hand must be screaming
my arms
right
were definitely
now.
getting tired at the end of it. But
yeah, that was a very fun
it's on
party.
YouTube.
Is that the only footage from that party? Like the videotape?
I think so. I mean,
oh wow,
we don't usually like record it's certainly the only recording of. Actually, there may have been I think there was a big camera, right? I don't know whatever happened to that.
I don't remember. I just remember thinking your hand must be screaming.
It was uncomfortable, but it was worth the sacrifice for the project. But yeah, so we're going to tell you lots about JuliaCon. I have some footage from the very first JuliaCon. We're going to figure out if we can show some of that or how to show some of that. We'll figure that out later. I promise there'll be at least a little bit. Not a lot. I unfortunately didn't take a lot of video. We'll have a little bit. So that should be fun.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll try to bring in as many stories as we can. Actually, if you also have been to previous JuliaCons and you have stories in mind, or you have some media in mind, actually get in touch with us. Actually, let's move to Nathan. Maybe he can tell us more about the poll, because maybe that's where you're gonna get in touch with us and tell us more about.
Yes.
If you also want to share with us stories. Yeah. Nathan,
that makes sense. Okay. Yes. So we're hoping that this podcast will be interactive. We want it to be. We want it to, like Huda and Kenna have said so far, we want to give you that feeling of being at a JuliaCon with people and sharing and having interconnection. So we want you to tell us what to talk about. And so we're going to do that. We're going to post there is a link to a poll. Huda said we should point somewhere. There is a link to a poll down below.
In the description below. That's how you do it, right?
That's how they do it on YouTube. In the description
hit the subscribe button.
Hit the subscribe button.
Or can we do a bubble up in the corner somewhere? We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
As you can tell, this is going to be extremely informal because we have no idea what we're doing.
Here or here, there is a link to a poll, and what we want you to do is to click that poll and tell us every day every day that we release this podcast, we're gonna link an associated poll, and we want you to tell us who you want us to talk to tomorrow on the next episode. If you want us to talk to you on the next episode, if you're a new person to the Julia community and you want to just give us a quick 30-second minute hello intro conversation, we'd love to hear from you. We're always loving to expand the community, so we want to hear from you there. If there's any talks that you really loved and you want us to spend some time highlighting or capturing, or if you thought there was just something interesting that happened that you want to make sure we catch it. So please go to this poll and let us know what you want to hear about in the next episode. And also, you'll notice that this is on YouTube. This first episode is pre-recorded, but starting next episode, we're going to be recording these live on YouTube Live. And so we'll post ahead of time in the Julia Slack, which you should totally sign up for if you're not on already. And we'll post a link to when we're recording, and you can come and participate in the chat as well, and give us your feedback on the episode as it's going, and maybe we'll have some audience questions. So that's
the plan, at least.
We'll see you
right.
next time.
Yeah, we'll see you next time. So this has been episode 1, which was titled Next Week Today. That's right, with the 3 of us, but not John Oliver. We couldn't book him, he's too expensive. So yeah, we look forward to hearing from you, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you for watching.